Evening Exiles. So me, Sarah, and Thomas are walking around the property and planning out what we're going to do with everything in the fall and the spring. So we're starting out on the southwest east corner. Sun's behind me, I don't know. And so this pile of rocks, we got to get rid of it to make it easier to mow and prettier. We don't really have any plans for this strip between the parking lot and the neighbors, or the driveway and the neighbors. Right behind you is that's where the van is. And of course, all these sticks need burned. And then along the neighbor's fence here, I want to build a trellis between here and the shed. And what are you doing, Thomas? He likes to wander in and out of my videos. But anyway, we're going to put a trellis along here so it's not touching the neighbor's fence so he doesn't get mad. And we're going to plant scarlet runner beans. They're Thomas Jefferson's favorite bean, but they're a shell bean that can be dried and stored. But they grow these really beautiful, pretty flowers. And we'll really pretty up this corner that right now has a lot of weeds growing in it. And by prettying up the corner, that'll help get rid of the weeds. And then we also are going to get this tree cut down because it's hollow and dying. This tree, so we took forever to get the tree guy to actually return our phone calls and give us a date to show up. Then we found a hornet's nest. We took care of the hornet's nest. There's a short about that I did. And while we were taking care of the hornet's nest, me and Thomas were outside and something flew over our heads. This is in the dark, and landed on the tree. So I shined my flashlight on it, thinking that's weird for a bat to land on the trunk of a tree like that. And it was a flying squirrel. So now we can't get the tree cut down till the DNR guy comes out to tell us if it's an endangered flying squirrel or not. This tree does not want to go, but it's got to go because it has branches hanging over the neighbor's fence, the neighbor's driveway. If that falls, it'll block him from getting out. There's stuff hanging over me and Sarah's bedroom. I really don't want that to fall while we're sleeping and get squished. So I'm going to pause the video and we're going to run around to the front of the house and show you all that stuff over there. Alright, so this is the front corner of the house. That's that tree I just talked about. So we're going to put a fence across here with a gate next to the corner of the house. And then plant Jerusalem artichokes along this side of the house. Jerusalem artichokes are a sunflower that's native to Indiana that grows this mutant potato asteroid looking thing underground that you can use as a potato. Apparently it doesn't make mashed potatoes with it. I've never tried, but they're not technically perennial, but they act like a perennial. They keep coming back every year, so they'll grow in there. And because they're native to Indiana, we won't have to do much work to keep them alive. They don't require a lot of water and stuff. And on top of that, they grow like taller than me. So they'll help shade out the house some too from the sun when we cut down the tree. And they're pretty. They grow like about that big around little sunflowers. And the seeds are too small for people to eat unless you want to sit there with tweezers. Nobody wants to do that. But when we get around to the backyard, I'll show you where we're going to put the chickens. And you can just take those sunflowers at the end of the year when the plants die and take the sunflower heads. Just got waved at by a neighbor. And throw them to the chickens, and the chickens will sit there with their little beaks and eat them. Alright, so then let me rotate you a little bit. Alright, so of course fix the broken window. And then we're going to take these rocks that Sarah and the kids put in. Like I was saying before you guys fell over, Sarah and the kids put the rocks here. And we have these planters all along here. We got more planters around back. So we're going to come out to the sidewalk with the rocks and put planters in here and hook them to some sort of drip irrigation, so we can plant herbs in it and it'll look nice in the front of the house, and it'll be easy to come in and weed because all the plants will be in pots. We can just move the pots out of the way, or if they're the ones that are fireproof, still a big deal. I mean, you can just come through here a couple times a year with the flame weeder and kill all the weeds. And it's a lot less work to weed, and it's in the pretty part of the house, so we want to keep it looking better. Get rid of all this tall grass here because it's a pain to mow in here. And then we also going to put in more of the yard lights. These guys. And what's cool about these guys, these solar yard lights, is, and I can't get this one open. It's because the one this is the one that broke that we hot glued together. That's why I can't get it open. But other than this one that's hot glued together, you can put, or they have AAA batteries in here. So these are solar powered. Yeah, Sarah just gave me one. You can sort of see the battery in there. They're just AAA batteries. So these are backup solar powered battery chargers, along with being solar lights. Let me swing the camera around to the next area we're going to work on. So we're going to take this corner of the sidewalk right here and make a pretty curved design and put more rocks and planters along this side of the house as well. And then Sarah wants to turn the camera with me. We're going to put the other gate for the fence over here. And then underneath here is our wellhead. So we're going to put a border around here and rocks and pretty this up. Probably put a bird feeder on each corner of the rocks. And then all along this, the property line here, we'll step on this side of our property line. We're going to plant a grapevine. Get rid of all this shrubby mess. Probably take care of that in the next couple of days. And then we got this little baby pine tree. We'll pretty him up too. And then we want to put some pretty, we got these lilies around the mailbox. We're going to plant all through here, between the mailbox and the driveway, with more lilies. And then probably right around here, a row of pine trees. Because you guys can probably hear it, and that's why I'm trying to talk louder. Is just on the other side of all these brush area, that's the counties, there's a highway. Like 4 lanes, traffic, people driving like maniacs. We're a little crooked.
Sorry.
It's fine. And so, hear that truck? Motorcycles. They do that all night long. So we're gonna plant a row of the pine trees to help block the sound, and most of the storms come from that direction, so it'll help protect the house from the storms, especially that cold wind in the winter blowing in snowstorms. So it'll cost less to heat the house too. And then in that weedy area, we're gonna plant more Jerusalem artichokes. We're also gonna plant like all kinds of herbal flowers and stuff like that.
Some comfrey already over there.
We already got comfrey there. We're gonna plant probably some mints in there, and then probably some lavender, and it'll pretty it up, along with having all kinds of more useful medicinal and edible plants. There's already some medicinal and edible plants growing wild in there too. So let's go back to the backyard. Next to the gas meter is Egyptian walking onions. These will take over the whole gas meter area. And since it's hard to mow up against this, you won't have to weed eat around here anymore, and we'll get onions out of the deal. These my grandma gave me, and then I planted them at my mother-in-law's house. That'd be April's mom's, not Sarah's mom's, when me and April lived there. And she sold the house, so me and Sarah went and dug up a bunch. We got some here. I gave some to some other people. I think I might have planted some. Yeah, I did plant some into the weedy area across the street. They'll grow in there. And then we also got to take down this maple tree. It'll rip out the gas meter. As we fence in the backyard, we'll have to take out all these trees that have grown up over the years. Daniel won't like that. Thomas won't like it because that'll make more yard to mow. But they can deal with it. And then right behind you is a old satellite dish. We're going to yank that out. And then that's the septic clean out. That's why we've got to put a gate on the corner of the house down there. That's why we got to put a gate down there at the corner of the house so the septic truck can drive down here. And we can't plant a bunch there. There's a lot of stuff I'd love to plant between the house and the fence there. It's perfect. But we got to be able to get the septic truck through. Because that'd be really bad if we couldn't. So we're going to cut this down. Cut it down lower to the ground. And probably put a little planter around it with marigolds or something in it. That looks nice and attracts good bugs. And then the playhouse here, we're gonna put some sort of roof on it. The kids are debating on what kind of roof they want. They originally told me they want to put solid walls around the top and like a metal roof on it. And I told them that's a good way to bake alive in the summer. And then in the winter it's gonna be freezing cold and they'll be able to play with it for like 3 days a year without dying in it. And then we're gonna put around some walls around the bottom. We already have the curtain up for that project. And that will be a changing room for the pool. We can probably store some pool supplies in it. And then build a bouldering wall. So like a climbing wall, but you climb sideways on it around the outside. Which I think will be really cool. Even if the kids don't. And then this is the back wall of the house on the west side of the house. So the air conditioner, it has to stay where it's at. But since it has a big fan over it, I want to build a big flat dehydrator. And the fan will, like the sun will dry the herbs. And the fan will spin and move the air around. And it'll help shade the air conditioner too. Shading your air conditioner actually helps them run a little bit more efficiently. And then we also want to plant or put the rain barrel here, hook it to the gutters. When we get around to the other corner, you'll see why. But then we're also going to put self-watering containers around the back for part of the garden and frame them out and make them look nice. I know in previous videos I said we plan on selling the house, but we want it to be nice and have a good, sustainable, not necessarily sustainable, but look nice for the next people and then go like, oh, this has got planters and all this stuff and like a self-watering garden already put in that we don't have. It'll make the house sell a lot better. And then in the next year or so, maybe 2, while we fix up the house and save up a down payment for a farm, we can use that stuff. So let's swing the camera back around here. Hi, Thomas. So behind the playhouse is like the little burn pit. We're gonna burn all the stuff, like these trees and stuff. And once all that's burnt, we're gonna clean it up. Put just like Thomas found a cricket. Big fat juicy cricket.
Okay, put it down.
Put down the cricket. Anyway, we're gonna put like a nice, regular burn pit in there that we can sit around and look nice, hang out as a family, maybe do some cooking on it. And this whole chunk of wood back here, oh, that's all woods. That goes clear to the next road. It's just there. I thought I'd mention it. We do have a bird feeder back there with sunflowers in it, feeding the squirrels. So in case there's ever emergency or it's hard to get food or hard to get cat food, we got squirrels already hanging out back here. And we got 2 feeders underneath it, so the squirrels that aren't set, or 2 traps underneath the feeder that aren't set, so the squirrels and stuff get used to walking in and out of them to pick up the sunflowers that fall on the ground. So when we do set them, they won't suspect a thing. And then right behind the burn pit, there is a little trail going into that. That's normally where the airsoft targets go, so we can get the most distance. And we're probably also going to put up a throwing knife, throwing tomahawk behind the airsoft thing. The kids love the airsoft targets. And I already ordered an airsoft pistol so me and Sarah can train identical to my carry pistol and the carry pistol she's going to buy. So that way we can train with the airsoft pistol more often than we can train with a real firearm, because there's on the other side of the woods there's houses, and if we miss the target, they get really upset if we shot their house, and police and all that stuff we don't want to mess with. All right, let's move the camera over to the future chicken coop. For all the noise from the weed eater and the neighbor's dogs, like I said in the last video, we do live in the city, even though we want to build a little homestead here and then eventually buy a farm and move on to that. So this old falling apart metal shed, we're going to clean up, paint the roof and stuff, and we're going to turn it into a chicken coop. And we're going to have the first run come through here between this and the shed that's off camera, you can't see. And it's going to be electro net, and the chickens will hang out here for all next summer. We'll have a compost pit in here we can dump compost in, and the chickens can eat straight out of that. Similar to a chicken tractor on steroids kind of setup. You can look that up, there's lots of videos on that. But then next year, or the year after that, we'll move on the other side of this weedy area here. We'll have an electro net set up here for the chickens, and the chickens will be in this area, and we'll garden there where they've tore up the ground and fertilized it and killed the bugs. And then, it'll be surrounded by the electro net, so we don't have to worry about all the, or as many squirrels and rabbits and stuff like that getting into our garden. And we can just take the weeds and the bugs we find and throw them right into the chickens. And if the moth that lays for the tomato hornworms or any other bug like that, like lays their eggs over here, then when we switch back and we garden here and move the chickens back over there, those bugs have to crawl past all those chickens to get to the tomatoes over here. That ain't happening. They'll all die before they get that far. Now, this is a big mess because I've been cleaning out this shed and organizing it. But this is our outdoor kitchen area. We have this picnic table and a round table so we can have people over. When it's really hot, we can come out here and like do all the prep work in there and come out and grill or run the meat smoker or use the propane stove, the camp stove that's out here to cook. That way we're not getting hot inside, and we can enjoy, when it's cooler evenings, we can come out here and enjoy dinner and stuff. And we got tiki torches to go around the outdoor kitchen and around the pool. And the pool is right over here. And yes, we know the pool looks more like a swamp. The kids haven't been playing in it much for the past month, and they haven't been taking care of it like they're supposed to. Thomas just smiled at me and then looked away. So right now we're draining it. We got some buckets of rice setting on it to let the water out. And then we're going to clean it and put it away for the winter. And those buckets of rice are soon going to go into the crawl space. We got beans and noodles and all those things. Some of those are going to go to crawl space. We have a place inside that they might fit to, some of them. We'll see how it goes for that. And oh, one other thing. We just emptied it. But this is our little outdoor pond. It's going to be hooked to the rain barrel, and it does three things for us. It looks pretty, and it's right here by the outdoor kitchen in that area. It will, it acts as a trap for mosquitoes. So the mosquitoes think, oh, that's some great water to go lay my eggs in. And then the little minnow things. You can also buy, there's a type of guppy, people call them mosquito fish. You can put them in ponds like this too, and they'll eat the mosquitoes and all that stuff. And then we're going to replace this plug-in 120 volt pump with a solar pump we already bought. Not necessarily because we want the solar, but it'll clean up extension cords. And since this house is built on a slab with a concrete walled foundation, it'd be really hard to put an outlet in over in this corner. So it's actually cheaper and easier to put in a cheap solar panel, and we'll have a battery to run the pump, and that'll provide us a little bit of power outside without running an extension cord. Enough to run like a fan or something in the outdoor kitchen. It won't be enough to run a crock pot, but if we want to run a crock pot or anything bigger outside, we can run an extension cord. And that's pretty much all of our plans. If you have any questions or ideas or anything like that, put them in the comments below. I look forward to reading your comments and stuff. And remember, we, his servants, will start rebuilding. I realized I only told you about the mosquito trap and the looking pretty, but I told you there was 3 reasons we're putting it in here. The other reason is to attract beneficial frogs and toads and beneficial insects that will help with the garden. Like stuff like parasitic wasp that'll kill tomato hornworms and other stuff that gets in the garden. Butterflies can drink out of here, dragonflies, all those kind of things can drink out of it, along with the frogs and toads. And we even had Sarah's niece and nephew come over, and everybody painted these little toad abodes for the toads to live in. So far we haven't gotten any toads to actually live in here, but we get frogs and toads all over the place. You might actually be able to hear some of the tree frogs in the background. So we're hoping to bring those in closer to around the gardening areas. So thanks for watching this little PS.